YouTube, what's going on? It's Preacher. So, I'm here at Pepsi in Orlando, Florida, right? And when I booked this load, they gave me this sheet right here. And it's a PepsiCo detention authorization form, right? So when I booked this load, I was like, I already knew what time it was. When you book a load, and then the next, I got the rate confirmation, and then the next load, the next email I got was all this stuff, driving responsibilities, and then this authorization form. So I said, oh Lord, well, I know I'm finna be here for a while. Every time I do a Pepsi load, Coke is a lot better, but Pepsi, man, it's always detention with Pepsi, man. It's always like a long time with Pepsi. It's like no matter what, I just be like, man, what's with these some people? And then this is what I got to go. 544 miles to get to the receiver, right? So, like I said, this coming out of Orlando, Florida, and it's going up to South Carolina. You know, and I got this load for $700, right? Now, if that surprised some of y'all, this Florida. So, if that surprises some of y'all really don't be booking loads out of Florida. Really understand. You ain't getting no $2-3 a mile coming out of Florida. It's not happening, right? It's not happening. I normally get about $1.20, $1.30 coming out of Florida. So this actually went up a little bit, you know, at 700. But I didn't really press that much because it was on the load board. It was on the load board for 480. I'm like, whoever take that for 480, they straight stupid, man. They like straight stupid. But I take these loads to get out of Florida, so it helps with my fuel costs. Right now, to fill up my truck in DEF is $881, right? To fill up. So when I get these loads coming out of Florida, paying like $650, that just helps me with my fuel, so it's more money in my pocket at the end of the week. So it really is fuel money, you know, but I'd rather get fuel money coming up, plus it's still within my means, so I don't worry about it. It's coming back into Florida. I'm coming back into Florida at like $3.20 a mile. Going into Florida like $3.20. Some loads it's like $3.40 coming in. So I'm still getting real good rates coming in. I'm just trying to, you know, keep more money in my pocket paying this on fuel. But I'm already at 2 hours of detention time right now. So now that's 700 to turn it to 800. And I am praying that I be here for one more hour. Make that 800 turn to 850. Then I'll be real close. I'll be so close to having this load pay for my fuel. And my fuel, it takes me from North Carolina down to West Palm Beach, Florida, back up to North Carolina again, off of one tank, right? So, I mean, and I fill up 3 times a week. Now, it used to be about 540 what it used to be. You know, before the fuel went up as much as it didn't went up. So even when I was getting these loads like 600 coming out, you know, it still was enough for me to fuel my my truck in DEF. So that's why I never really was worried about it. You know, so when you get in 3 loads, and my 3 loads for the week is giving me about between 1,800 to 2,000. that was my fuel for the week. So the other 5,800 that I'm making goes inside my pocket. So that's how I normally do it. Just so my profit for the week is like 58, between 56 to 58. Because sometimes some of the loads that I get coming back up, it takes me a little bit further out than the direction that I'm really going in. So my deadhead back to pick up the load actually be a lot more. Sometimes it is like about 160 miles, 170 something miles to my pickup. So when I have those happen, then yeah, sometimes it just be like that. So my fuel will go up sometimes, but it is what it is. But I'm like, when I saw that form for Pepsi, I'm like, well, at least now they giving you decent forms for them to fill out and stuff. At least that's what they doing now. Because I used to fight with Pepsi, man. I used to fight for detention with Pepsi. They're trying to fight it so much. Oh, it wasn't that long. It wasn't this, and trying to get somebody to sign your arrival hours and departure hours. It used to just be a headache. Nobody want to put their name on it. Then I have to call the broker and say, listen, I am not leaving here until somebody sign this for my detention time. I said, because I need to make sure I get paid for this detention. Because Pepsi, they just take long. And then, they don't have no parking on their sites at all. They don't be like no parking. So we got to park out on the street. I had to park out on the street for an hour and a half after my appointment time. Appointment was at 12. At 1 o'clock, I got here at 12:50. Right? When I had checked in and everything. Then I was out there on the streets till 2:30, 2:20 something, 2:30 something. I was out there on the street before I was able to come up in here, man. I'm just like, I hate these Pepsi, but sometimes I got to take these BS loads because I'm trying to get out of Florida. I don't want to deadhead up to North Carolina. So that's why I try to make sure that 844. All right, y'all. I gotta go. I got a very important call. But that's what's going on with me right now in Orlando.